Welcome back to DS Trucks. Check it out. My wife's F-150 all tinted up. Looks good. She's very happy with it. But today we're actually taking the new F350 and it is tinted out as well. It's one of those things that really is just something I do as soon as I get the truck. Way easier on the eyes when driving. But check it out. Basically what we're doing in the meantime, in between trucks, we've got 3 new ones right now. One's gonna go. And the thing is, guys, I am not totally sure which one's going to go. Is it going to be the 350, the 450, or the 250? Now, I am kind of experimenting with what it would be like to daily this truck. I'm really liking the XL interior for the type of work that I do. Don't get me wrong, I love my Lariat, but 100% honest, from a comfort point of view, the XL interior is just as comfortable, if not in some ways more comfortable. Just the cloth, when you're spending a lot of time sitting on this, it's not a bad seat. Now the Lariat with the cooled seats and the heated seats and all that obviously is a little nicer, but just if it weren't for the cooled and heated features, the cloth seat's real nice. Probably the best bet will be like an XLT, because you get a cloth seat and you get heated seats, but that is not an option on an XL. But what I'm loving is putting my computer right here, just sticking it between the seat. Makes for a good mobile office. But I got to go hook this truck up, and it's going to be interesting without any reverse camera, if the reverse camera wants to work. So if that's the only thing that is wrong with this truck, then I will be happy. You know, kind of with, you know, it's 2022. Quality, we all know quality is down in all departments. So if maybe somebody didn't plug something up, or maybe a module, maybe it's no one's fault, maybe just a module or something is just acting up. We know right now computer chips are kind of weird. So hopefully this even works. I'm not sure if this thing will go up high enough to hook up, because this hitch is sitting pretty high. This is no weight safe hitch that I had for a while. Here's a look at the equipment that we're bringing: shovels, broom, sod cutter, rake. But let's go ahead and go hook up to our dump trailer. See you guys at the dump trailer. And here we are hooked up to the dump trailer, and actually it's squatting pretty good. You can see there, not that much different from the 250, but we do have a weight safe hitch on here. And let's go ahead and see what this thing is telling us. And I know I'll get a lot of blowback in the comment section, how these are not accurate and all that, but this is saying 1,500 pounds as it sits right now. So as far as the difference, as far as squatting and all that, to be 100% honest, it's not that much different from the 250. And these overload springs have not come into play just yet. I mean, they are getting close, but they're not in place. So I feel like, honestly, these overload springs should be lowered. Like by now with this load, I think they should be touching and coming into, well, here on the one in the rear, it's just barely touching it. So any more weight and this rear part, you know, another couple hundred pounds, maybe another 500 pounds, and those overload springs would actually come into play. Let's take a look at our bump stops here. We are a good ways away from the bump stops. So, I mean, the way these springs are set up, if you get to your overload springs, you're almost at your bump stops anyway. So, kind of interesting. But anyway, I guess we'll see what the difference is with this. I mean, we're touching one overload spring. The rears of the overload springs are touching. Let's take a look here at our trailer. Now, this will probably level out a little bit once we get out of this spot where it's pointed down at it. So one thing I've always got to do with this is lower the little bit of oil from the heat expansion for some reason. But here's a look at what we've got in here. And yeah, we've got sod loaded here in the nose. And the reason that it's in the nose is because, hey, we got to get more stuff and equipment and everything back here. So it ends up getting loaded with the nose. But we're going to put more in here. So see you guys at the next scene. All right, and we are at the yard getting loaded. This is the best spot in St. Clair Shores to get your material. Check out the topsoil that they've got. going right in here above the axle. Now this should help our tongue weight. Our tongue weight is way too heavy right now. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at where we are. Oh yeah, let's bring it down to tongue weight. And I think when you cut, if you're buying material here, the owner Jeff was just telling me that if you're getting your material here, then you can dump like cut sod rolls. You can dump it in their pile for, you know, you pay a little fee, but it saves you the trip. So there's our topsoil. This will be perfect for what we're doing. All right, see you guys at the next scene. All right, so we are getting ready to drop down on the freeway, and we're loaded pretty heavy. We got 2 yards of mulch, or I'm sorry, 2 yards of topsoil, which is much heavier than mulch. And it actually balanced out the trailer a lot better to have that 2 yards over the axles, because we had the rolls of sod and the nose, which was making things a little heavy. So let's see how this truck does. Accelerating good. We're in fifth, sixth. Slow down a bit for the curve. Right now, if we were in a 6.2, we'd really be stepping on it. All right. Up to speed, no problems. No problems whatsoever. Feels good too. Oh, got my blinker on there. Feels good, man. What do you think?
It's noticeable improvement over the 6.2.
Yeah. Right now the 6.2 will be revving.
Top gear too.
Yeah, it's holding 10th. Pretty impressive.
The 6.2 normally has the downshift.
But we're gonna go ahead and drive and pick this up once we hit the sod farm. All right, so the drive here to the sod farm was excellent, guys. With the trailer loaded more evenly, really did feel good. So I'm just bouncing back and forth. Like, what do I do? If I were to trade in that 450, my business would be in a lot better financial situation. That's kind of what I'm thinking. And this truck can do the work. It means no diesel, and I know my channel's been focused a lot on the diesel, but this truck can do the work. So I'm still kind of debating it. My salesman's going to run the numbers on that truck anyway, but I haven't even seen that truck in so long. And you know, when I first hooked up today, just to put in perspective how I go back and forth, when I first hooked up today to this trailer, I was like, oh my god, I want my 450 back, because it was squatting so much. And I do load this trailer very unevenly from time to time. So, you know, if I got the load right in here, you know, we hooked up today, this thing was like at its max tongue weight that it's rated for. And we're touching our overload spring. And I do think the overload spring should be a little lower. Like, they should touch sooner. Maybe I'm just being anal, but I feel like they should touch sooner so that they actually do more. But just to put in perspective of how I'm feeling right now, is like, I hook it up and it's like, dang, I want my 450 back. Like, yeah, I definitely need the 450. And then once it's loaded right, it's like, you know what, maybe not. So, you know, I guess I'll know better once I get that back. But one of these trucks has to go. So anyway, let me help load this side. I don't want Nick to have to do all the work. Anyway, see you guys once we get back to the job site. All right, guys, and we are done. And she is squatting. Check it out. She is squatting down low. Woo. So, I mean, it squats kind of, to me, in my opinion, it squats just like the 250. But as it's squatting like this, it's just barely starting to touch the overload springs. So, interesting enough, the overload springs really don't do much. I think this configuration should be set up a little different. Let's see where the bump stop is. Got a ways to go. Got a ways to go for the bump stop. But now my chains are getting close to the ground. So anyway, let's go ahead and get back home and we'll talk about how this truck is doing. And just like that, we are back home with the F350. This is the F250 and the F350 is right here. And I have to say, the 350 springs, I don't know. I mean, are they better than the 250? They're supposed to be. But then again, I don't know because I didn't have the same load on this truck. So what I should do actually is load that trailer up real heavy and then have these trucks side by side, the 250 springs versus the 350 springs, hitch them up and see what the difference is and drop, because it did seem like that 350 squatted down pretty good and it just barely touched the overload springs. Now, is this truck supposed to be that low? Um, it's, I don't know. It's kind of interesting that it squats as much as it does. I don't know if anyone ever replaces these bump stops or does anything to actually bring these overload springs into play sooner. It'd be nice if they were. Um, they really don't do much for you. In the spring pack, while you do have more leaves here, they seem to be a little bit lighter. So I mean, they seem exactly like a 250 as far as performance. They seem basically the same in my opinion so far. So all this time I've been preaching F350, F350, F350. From my experience, I'm not seeing a huge difference, but I'm going to go ahead and test this again. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong and not thinking about things right, because yeah, maybe I need to just hitch these up together and see the drop. Now, I have a decision that I need to make. The F450, I love the truck, but I do kind of have a little remorse with this 350 just from the fact that it's so nice and it's so clean. I feel guilty about putting this thing into the line of service of daily mowing. Not that mowing ruins the truck or anything necessarily, but it does get a little nasty. Let's take a look at how this truck looks right now. Now, the way we run things, nothing in here is ruined from the last couple years of mowing. The seats are still good. They could use a good cleaning. If someone was going to daily this truck, they could use a little cleaning. But there's no major stains or anything like that. So I guess it's not that big a deal. It's just getting through the crispy new interior. It's so clean right now. This could be cleaned up to be, if a good detail job. You wipe off the dash. It's all plastic and everything. You just wipe it off. So, selling this truck and putting that one into this position and having it do this work, it means it's going to be getting a little bit dirty, getting a little bit filthy. As you can see, I think we've got a cracked window. It's hard to tell, but it's just getting over that right now. I wouldn't be opposed to just trading in the 450 and dailying this thing. It's not bad, but I go back and forth. The 450 just got delayed again. It's not going to be here until the 10th now. So this little period where I have an extra vehicle is nice, but the reality is I really can't keep all the trucks. It's just too much. So one has to go. This one just got here, so chances are it's not going unless somebody really wanted it. It's kind of a fun project right now, and I think it wouldn't be a bad deal for this just to be like a main project, just to focus on it as a project. It would be fun. Throw some 35s on it, maybe a level, maybe, I don't even know if it needs that, but some 35, maybe Wrangler Duratrax. That was the plan with this, but they gave me 33s instead of 35s. So maybe throw some 35s on this and make this like a main project truck. I do enjoy it, but that 450 is so nice. That 450 is so nice with the capability of that hitch, that 3-inch receiver, and being able to just tow anything. And you're not worrying about no squatting. You're not worrying about this truck, the 350. You're not worried about power. The 7.3, the way it feels towing, no issues with power. Does it get into diesel territory? It kind of seems like it does for these weights that we're towing. I mean, we're doing 16,000 pounds. Chances are we'll max out the trailer that we have. When you're material handling, 16K on the ball is probably pushing the limits on a 350 even. I don't think a 350 actually tows more conventional weight than a 250. I could be wrong. I think they're both at 15,000 pounds of towing, but I could be wrong. I don't know. This might be 18,000 conventional. It's so hard to know all these numbers as far as conventional, but they could both be around 15,000 conventional. I do know the 250 is 15,000 conventional. towing on the hitch. Now, once you get into fifth wheel or gooseneck, you might get a little bit more. In this truck, it is equipped with the gooseneck. So, as far as this truck being as capable as a 450, the 450 is capable for everything that I want to do in the future. But this can do most of that stuff too. But a set of airbags would do it some justice. Comparing this to the 450, the 450 is still so much better. This 350, the suspension is very close to the 250. Maybe it's a little better. I'd have to drive them back to back. Maybe it's a little bit better than the 250. But I'm gonna drive them back to back to really. The new engine, the 10-speed and the 7.3, those two together, they do seem to offer a ton of improvement over just the 6.2 in the 6-speed. And even with that, the 6-speed ain't bad. This whole 10-speed thing's been kind of forced down our throat. I don't feel like we needed it. The 6-speed's fine. It's not even like the 10-speed makes a big difference. But that engine, that 7.3 liter engine, that is nice. That thing's a huge upgrade. But anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. This is DS Trucks. My name is Sean. Let me know what you think. I'm trying this without any background music. I saw a little bit of complaints about the background music. I even got a text. Somebody don't like the background music. So let's try it without and see how it goes. Maybe I'll bring it back and just turn it down a little bit more. But let's try out the video without background music. It makes life easier for me. I don't have to do as much editing. But anyway, this is Sean. This is DS Trucks. See you in the next video. Over and out.